There are two kinds of people in this world. Either you're doing things you know you shouldn't, or you're not doing things you know you should. Guess what? We're both. Hi, I'm Marcy Barker, life and business coach, aka your loving kick in the pants. This podcast is here to help you become accountable with aligned action and become boss-minded while growing a business without sacrificing what matters most. Let's dive in. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. I'm excited to be here with you today because we're going to talk about BNI. And if you were like, BMI, body mass index, is that what we're talking about? No, B as in boy, N as in Nancy, I as in ice cream. Isn't that so weird, you guys? Nothing jumbles up my brain more than that kind of spelling. What is it even called? I don't know what it is called when people are like B, Bravo, N, Nancy. I don't know. It confuses me. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for just introducing it correctly. BNI stands for Business Networking International. Okay. It is a resource that I want to talk about because it can be a very amazing thing to help you grow your business and to grow your network with those who are in your local area. BNI, Business Networking International, was founded by Ivan Misner, and I was so incredibly blessed to have him endorse my book, The Accountability Code. And BNI was a really, really important part of my journey as I was growing. And so I just want to preface this podcast with, I'm not telling you have to go out and join a BNI chapter, but I do want to let you know that there are benefits to getting out of your comfort zone and being involved with a group of people who are taking business growth seriously. When I was first introduced to BNI, I had a friend that messaged me and she said, hey, I have to do a business presentation. I need people to give me feedback. Can you show up? I need 2 or 3 people to come and watch me. And I said, sure, I can totally do that. And when I showed up, I realized that this was not just a business presentation, but it was like a full-on business meeting with goals and an outline and a schedule and everything. And BNI actually has a whole purpose. They have rules to it. And when I sat down, I was thinking, this is my cup of tea because I like rules and I like a schedule and I like a purpose. So I was excited to hear more. Now, BNI, they have 10,000 chapters all over the world. So chances are you could go to BNI.com and search for your area and you could find business groups of people who are meeting every single week. Now, another reason that I really like BNI is because it comes with accountability, and they have a purpose and overview with 7 different points. I'll read these off, and if you're watching on video, I'll put them on the screen as well. But the core values of BNI are as follows: givers gain, building relationships, lifelong learning, traditions and innovation, positive attitude, accountability, and recognition. So can y'all guess which word sticks out to me the most? It is accountability, okay? What I love about accountability and meeting with a group who values accountability is that people show up. They show up to get their stuff done. So in a business group like BNI, there are some rules that you have to follow if you're going to be in a BNI chapter. And those 4 commitments that you are agreeing to abide by is, number 1, you show up every week. You show up to the business meeting, and if you can't show up, you send a sub in your place because your membership is important. The second thing that you have to do is do continuing education, which means you just got to be growing your business. And BNI has a lot of resources that you can tune into, but also if you're going to your own conferences, you're growing your own trade, or you're building upon your certifications, that counts as well. Another commitment is to invite a visitor once a month, because visitors not only help the chapter grow if they're interested in joining, but chances are visitors need some sort of benefits from the people in your group. If they're looking for a plumber or a roofer or a dog trainer or wallpaper or asphalt or a realtor, like all sorts of stuff, they can come to this meeting and be introduced to people that they need in their life. So that's really good. And the last commitment of BNI is that you'll send referrals to somebody, at least 1 referral a week. What's really awesome about having a whole group of people who are committing to these things, like just imagine, close your eyes for a second. And I want you to imagine 10 people, 10 business people that, 1, you see them every week and they're committed to growing their own business. That right there is a very powerful tool in motivating you and keeping you accountable to showing up. Now, imagine in those 10 people, every single person is business minded enough to further their education and their business acumen. Having those people in the same room weekly is going to do wonders for you making decisions in your business. Now, keep your eyes closed. Think about those 10 people going out every single week and them having the intention of sending you business when they find it for you. If they hear people who need you or they see that you're the solution for someone, they've committed to sending business your way. Now, lastly, close your eyes. Imagine that those 10 people all have the intention of bringing more people into your ecosystem so you can grow your business. That is literally the power of BNI. When you have a whole group of people who have committed to these things, it makes business growth so much more easy. So when I hear accountability, I'm like, that is absolutely my favorite part. And actually, let me go back too, because one of the biggest reasons I ended up joining BNI is that when my friend invited me to listen to her business presentation, this was a point in my business where I had just gotten rid of all of the trainers in my business. For different reasons, they all fell off and I was back doing business by myself. And I was missing my weekly team meeting where I met with all of my trainers. We went over business tasks. I asked them what they were working on and I did training on how to help them sell and create content for the business. So being around business owners who were serious, I needed that big time. And the bonus was I didn't have to push anybody to do that. And I didn't have to pay them to do that either. I got to show up and be on the same level as people who cared about their business. So accountability was really, really big for me, but I also needed that sense of family and friendship that came separate from me paying people's bills. So that was a really emotional part of why I joined the group. Now, the friend that invited me to check out her BNI chapter, she did not tell me that they were going to ask me if I wanted to join the group afterwards. I just thought I was going to hear her speak on her business, which was photography. And when I learned that this was a group that I could be a part of and participate in, I did my research and I was like, I didn't even know that BNI was a thing. And so I started visiting other chapters in the area because there is a monetary commitment with this group. And I wanted to make sure that if I was going to put my money down, that I was going to be in a place that I felt good about. And I was so lucky that there were a lot of different options within my area. So I encourage you guys, go to bni.com. You can search up your area and visit a chapter. But what I did is I went to these different chapters and I felt them out. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be somewhere that I enjoyed being and that I could see potential within my business. And honestly, I also wanted to see, this seems petty, but it's not. I wanted to see who was on time. I wanted to see who was showing up. I wanted to see how many visitors were there. I just wanted to see all these different stats because I had options and I wanted to make sure that I picked the best one. Another thing about BNI is you have contact spheres. This means in my past life personal training, people in my contact sphere were other fitness industry professionals that I would work closely with to help grow our businesses. So I wanted to know, do they have a chiropractor? Do they have a nutritionist? Is there a gym owner in the group? Because those things would have made my experience better. Now, when I found the group that I finally decided upon, the reason why I ended up joining that group is because one, my seat was available, because in every chapter, you cannot have multiple people of the same industry. Like if there's a realtor in the group, there's a realtor in the group and you got to find a different group, because we want to make sure that if you're passing business to somebody, that there's one option and you don't have to make people compete for business right in their own space. So I found a group where my seat was available, but I also found a group that was like really fun, and it wasn't so much like everybody don't talk. It was very much like we're here to gather to talk about what we're going through, and we're here to support each other as well and have fun. So I picked a group that we loved to banter and we had jokes, and they brought me right in right away. And it was just really nice too, because at that time that chapter had 40 members. And in my opinion, chapters between 30 and 50 members are kind of the sweet spot. I think there are some chapters actually that can get up to 175, 200 people. And I don't even know what that's like. I have not visited a chapter that was that big because it seems overwhelming. And for an extrovert who wants to know every single person, that can actually be a little bit overwhelming to try and make a personal connection with 200 people. So in the core values, accountability was the one that I really loved the most. But one of the biggest or most popular core values of BNI is called Giver's Gain. And Giver's Gain is the whole idea that if you show up and you help other people, then you're inevitably going to get back what you need. And I think the famous quote is Zig Ziglar saying that he got everything he needed by making sure that everybody else had what they needed. And by helping other people, that's how you're ultimately going to get what you want. So Giver's Gain was also really resonates with me because I am the kind of person that goes out of my way for people. And I think in business, it's really easy to get into a space where you're trying to give people business and you're trying to shout people out. And then you have these experiences where you're like, nobody's doing that for me. Or like, my family's not supporting me, or I'm not getting any sales and I wish people would reciprocate. And having a weekly reminder about Giver's Gain is amazing, but what makes it come full circle is that everybody in the group has committed to Giver's Gain. It's not just you hoping for good karma, but it's like you decided that you were going to live by that, and the person across the table from you also decided that they were going to live by it as well. So that's been really nice. Hey, my beautiful people. If you're loving these episodes, you'll want the full experience. I've bundled both of my books, The Accountability Code and Becoming Boss Minded, into one powerful package. You'll get instant access to the audiobooks and ebooks so you can learn and grow anytime, anywhere. Head to bossminded.com and grab the book bundle now. It's the perfect way to stay inspired between episodes. All right, let's dive back in. Now, one thing that I found really interesting within BNI is that you will find different smaller groups. Like if there are different classifications, like there's the trades section and then there's professional services section. And so me as a business coach, I am in personal services, or B2B actually is the seat that I took, because I'm a business owner and I'm helping other businesses grow. But a dog trainer would be a business owner to consumer, B2C, or personal services, because it's kind of a one-man thing. They're not selling big products and they don't have a storefront and stuff like that. So in BNI, it's cool because you can meet with people who are more in tune with what your industry is and how you operate in business. That inside of a big room full of business owners, you can split up into these small groups that make your work more specialized and that much more effective. Now, another thing that I really like about BNI is that everybody participates every single week, which means you have weekly commercials. And these are fun because every single week you get to get 35 to 40 seconds where you tell the entire group what you need, what you're working on, who your best referral is, or who they can send you. And having a weekly commercial was so great for me because I got really good at practicing what I needed and what I was looking for and what I was working on. And some people, I have been part of other networking groups where they're not a fan of BNI because BNI is very much like you get your 45 seconds, and if you go past time, somebody can ring a timer on you. Some people don't like that, but some people are very chatty and they need that. So I remember in a different business group I was in, she said, BNI is just too masculine. I don't like it because it doesn't give room for the flow of things. And I was like, I like having my set time, and I like being able to listen very quickly to what everybody needs. Like, I will probably do this again, but since I'm brand new to my chapter, I haven't done this yet. But I had a binder where I had everybody in my chapter with their name on a separate piece of paper. And every time they would get up and they would say their commercial, I would write down their need. And then I would wait for the next person, flip the page, and write down the need. And what was cool about accumulating my papers in my binder is that I could go to, I'll make up a name, Jim. Jim was a roofer, and I could go to Jim's page that I took notes on over the weeks, and I could start to gather all of the things Jim was working on. Oh, Jim makes claims with insurance. Oh, Jim wants us to talk to people more after a windstorm when shingles have come off their roof. Oh, Jim works with solar panel companies and gets stuff done at the same time. So it was a really, you guys, this is the kind of stuff I geek out on. You don't have to do this, but imagine somebody putting that sort of effort into what you do for your business and being eyes and ears for you and sending people your way, because that's what BNI does. And what's really cool too is that every single week you track your stats on your progress. How many one-to-ones? Oh my gosh, that's what I forgot. That's one of the commitments. I totally forgot that. I feel dumb now. One of the commitments of being a member, I wrote it down. Attend weekly, send a referral, invite a visitor once a month. A visitor's not a weekly commitment. It is a monthly commitment. That's where I messed up. So the weekly commitments are attend weekly, do 1 hour of CEUs a week, send 1 referral a week, and the last commitment is doing a one-to-one. A one-to-one is where you meet with another person in the group and you get to know them as a person and what their goals are as a business. And what I really liked about that is it gave me time to kind of mastermind what I was working on or get people's feedback if I needed it. Or it would just be like, how are you doing? And sometimes it was like a girl's day where you could just meet up with another girlfriend in business and she understood a lot of the problems you had as a business. And then there were other times where you can meet with somebody who's been in business way longer than you and they could help you with whatever challenges you were coming up on. Another thing too is when you're meeting with people one-to-one, that if they're in your same industry or in your same niche, then collaboration happens really quickly too. And you just get credit. You get credit for doing all these amazing things in your business. So with BNI, I want you guys to go and visit a chapter so you can experience what it's like, and then go and visit another chapter and see if it's something that will benefit you in your business. But I do want to share that just like any other tool, there's going to be pros and cons to it. There are going to be different opportunities where you're like, hey, this is really great, I'm getting business. And then you're also going to go through a phase where you're like, nobody's sending me any business and I don't know why. And that was also another big thing in my own business growth, that I had to figure out what parts of my business needed to be organized better, to be more clear, to be more automated, to be more streamlined. And ultimately, I ended up leaving my chapter because I grew and I changed so much that the reason I joined BNI was not the same growth I was experiencing now. So when I left my chapter, it was really hard for me because I really enjoyed the environment, but my business had changed so much from the end of my BNI experience to how my business started. So it didn't make sense for me to continue and to educate everybody every single week how my business had changed and who I was working with and all sorts of stuff. So the transition from personal trainer into life coach, and then life coach into business coach based on my massive growth within 1 year with my books and all this stuff, it really changed. And so I took a break from BNI. Then when I moved across the country, I was really excited to get back into BNI, and I went to the website and I looked up local chapters and I visited, and I made conclusions about which groups I liked, which ones I think would be best for me. I knew what questions to ask because I had a previous experience, and nothing felt right. The chapters just didn't feel right for me. And then I continued to grow in my business, and I thought, you know what, I really do miss BNI. I want to find a chapter that works. And I went to the website again to go look, and lo and behold, there was a new chapter that wasn't there the first time I looked. And I went and visited it, and it was amazing. And now it's aligned with what I'm working on right now. So in your business journey, I want you to know BNI can be a very, very valuable tool for you, but it's not for everybody. Like, if you're not going to be accountable and if you're not going to show up to the commitments, then it might not be the best place for you. But that doesn't mean you can't visit a chapter and go check it out and see if there are services that you need. And you can also find clients or customers the first time you visit. That's not uncommon either, for somebody to come and say, hey, I'm a book consultant, or I remodel closets, or I'm a home cleaner, and people in the chapter need you and they're happy to send you business, because that's the purpose of BNI, is to help businesses grow. So this episode has been a little bit all over the place just because there's so much I could say about BNI, and I want you to know that if you have questions about it, definitely come and ask, because like I said, things have been really good, but I've also had a couple bad experiences too. I'm not going to lie and say that everything's peachy, because when you join a group and you're dealing with people and new people and things are changing, like, things are inevitably going to pop up. Or you might even find that somebody partakes in your service and they're not satisfied, and then there's something you have to work through. Or even I hired somebody in my chapter and they were not great. And I had to address that, because you see them every single week. And these are all just parts of growing your business. But BNI is a really, really great place with far more pros than there are cons. So if you've got any questions at all, definitely reach out and let me know. And remember, you guys can go to bossminded.com and marcybarker.com, and you guys can put in any podcast topics that you want to hear, or you can apply to be a guest on Your Loving Kick in the Pants if you would like as well. So I'll see you next week for another episode, and wake up and show up. Thanks for tuning in, friend. If this episode gave you value, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone in your circle who's ready to wake up, show up, and grow their business without sacrificing what matters most. When you do, you're not just helping them, you're building your network of like-minded leaders. And I'll say this plainly, leaving a kind review matters more than you know. It helps more people find the show, and it keeps the momentum going. So pause for a moment and please drop that review. Lastly, if there's a topic you want me to cover, I want to hear from you. Reach out, because this podcast is for you and I'm here to serve. Until next time, stay boss-minded.